today we want to cover one very interesting subject because I myself misled uh, by the generation of electricity by current inside the cells with the electrolytic process. And yes, it is true and it happens right on the cells. So let's go to the little bit more details in cells before we talk about the cells. All right. So the interesting thing is the whole concept. I never intend to dig down in that level because accidentally I got to do so because uh, uh, one of very spiritual doctor, Puja, and I was talking about the energy and some of her dream where she see the massive energy and so on, and what will be the in relations with the cells. So that is how this question arises. Then when I dug down deeper into more than I usually do, I discover more and more things. Actually, it's there, but discover means I went through more inside of the cells. So if I'll tell you, you may even surprise, and a lot of doctors may even surprise. Here is a catch. Let's go back to the cells. So to understand, to talk about this talk, it is very important to know about the cells. Today, uh, I myself got really excited, and I used to talk during my research on this with also one of engineer, air traffic engineer, uh, Yam, uh, uh, who lives in UK right now in Nepal. And also, I have several conversations with some elite experts also. Okay, let's go back to the topic. So, inside the cells, what's there? Chromosomes. We all know the chromosomes. Okay, there are about 23, and then this copy duplicates, and it becomes 46 chromosomes. X, Y. All right, and if X and X, that means usually uh, during mutations that will be, you know, it will determine the sex that will be female, and XY uh, it will be boy, male. Okay, so up to that, it is everything is crystal clear, right? So now we know that the cells will have a lot of functions. All right. So now we deeper into more into cells, and then we must not leave ATP. And what is ATP? So ATP is the key player inside the cell. Okay, ATP. How many ATP inside the cell? Cell is still very small, and inside that cell, and what are ATP? ATP are molecules. So how many ATPs? Amazing. When I saw that number, I got shocked myself. There are about 10 billions ATP right in that cell. And total cells, about 37 trillions. It's written about 30 to 40 for average, about 37 trillions. Wow. So that is the catch. So what ATP does, or say ATP as a singular unit, you can say does, or there, now we know that billions what ATP will do. So ATP is the one which will push the ions. Say we have a sodium ions and potassium ion in an electrolytic process, there is a potential difference. And then ATP is the one which will push those ions in the gradient levels. Gradient levels mean on tiny step-by-step methods, like in the calculus, dx by dy. So that is how the gradient level works, and it will push. All right. After that, what will happen? each cell will generate about 10 picoamps, very, very small. And the voltage, it is mentioned about 70 millivolt. Okay, now we know that there is a biocurrent and we know how it generates. Before we simply say there is a lipid in between these ions, ions will move back and forth, potential differences, that will be electrolytic process, and it generates the electricity by electricity. That's what we know. Honestly, I know there will be voltage, I know there will be amps, but in that level, 10 pico is a data we got today. That is great thing. And we know 70 millivolt is a volt. That is great. But it is not like a battery cells. Okay, it is not like battery cells. We have about 37 trillion cells. Guess what? If it will be like a battery cells, whether it will be series or in parallel. If series, imagine 70 millivolt plus, and it will add up in series. You can simply multiply by 37 trillions. It will be that much voltage. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that voltage? And at the same time, pico, if you add, it's a pico is very small little current. It's about 375 amps. So trillions of voltage multiplied by that 370 amps, we will be vaporized. Okay, so we know that this electricity cannot be add up like in the batteries. That is very important phenomenon we should know. All right, and there is a role of those picocurrent and also voltage. Okay, and there is also now very interesting phenomena is not electricity not going to directly involve. Okay, signal is the catch. Okay, it's a very complicated subject, so I want to go today and focus only on information processing and how it works in a neurons level and a little bit about ATP. Otherwise, it is a very, it will be a vast topic. So also we have to do like a few minutes breathing check. So that way we can cover the most important part, then also do the breathing check, and then the rest you're going to read in my article. That will be coming soon. All right. Here is the confusion. So those electricity will be generated, by current will be generated, there is a millivolt, and then when it generates, usually people are thinking, one who is practicing meditation, Tai Chi, and so on, pranayam, and Saipa, Sanchen, or a breathing tech, including me also, I got misled that we're gonna bring energy while breathing back and forth and then energize, and then we will have more oxygens and so on, and that is directly going to play in our breathing exercise. So more clearly today I can tell you it is not the electricity by current we're going to accumulate directly on us. There is several electrical by electrical level reactions, the chemical reactions, and then electrochemical process. Actually, those all the energy what we feel today is not the biocurrent itself. Biocurrent has one great function to the neurons, transmit the signals via motor neuron, give the command what to do in the long distance, like in the fiber optic in the communication trunk is a major hub that will send the signals to every part of the body and giving the command in the sense of electrical signal, not in the level of biocurrent. Okay, that is the key. And when we do breathe in, breathe out, all breathe in, breathe out, definitely we're going to bring more oxygen. And interesting thing is, it's not the generation of electricity right there. It is a chemical process again, and there will be enthalpy, and there will be the chemical energy That is what is going to take place. And there is, by the way, formula. And it's a kind of joules per operations. So, interesting thing, we can present the data today. Okay, one good example. All the data center, all informations, all the server today, just to build like our brain. You know how much power we need? And data center which can think like our brain does. You know how much power needed? Nearly more than half the whole power of Nepal. That will be about 2,700 megawatt, about 2.7 gigawatt. For the brain, somebody wrote 15 watt. Okay, but that 15 watt, from where it comes from? The 15 watt is not technically correct. Who just wrote it? Who didn't go inside the cells with the ATP? He just wrote it. But technically, it will be about half of it, 7.5 watt. But that 7.5 watt is not directly from the electrical formula, E equal to V into I, voltage and amps, and all this pico and millivolt. No, it is from the chemical reactions. It is in terms of joules per operation and joules converted into wattage. It's not the direct electrical wattage. And all the ATP generates inside the body all together 15 watt, but neurons get about 7.5 watt. Okay, so it's not the direct conversion. It's a joules per operation. It's a chemical process, and from the chemical process, mathematically, they convert it into wattage. Yeah, you have right to compare. So 7.5 watts versus 2,700 megawatts, 2.7 gigawatt. And beauty, somebody went into blood cells, picking those cells, going through the ATP, filtering all the ions in the neurons level, which can transmit the signals, made a chip. It's a direct biological chips integrated into the system and made the biological computer. There are 20 of them in Singapore. Directly inducing blood is coming. What does it mean? It can process fast. It can save entire energy. Today, data center is minimum like a 5 megawatt, 10 megawatt, and so on. No more cooling, no more megawatts. So that is something happening. And in Singapore, they made already 20 biological computer, but they are right now inducing about only 200,000 kind of those, you can say ATP, whatever, neurons signaling processing cells. So about 200,000 successfully to the chips integrated, embedded onto it, and start processing. So that is what I want to tell today. I'm sorry for the long class today. Guys, I'll be back.